Again, um, this video is a continuation of the last video. If you haven't watched the last stream was talking about discussing DC. And while I was a bit, again, this is not a stream for kids. While I was somewhat explicit in my language, I think you guys get the point. That stream was just recapping the mismanagement of the DC brand by the executives that were in charge of DC, and also by the executives of Warner Brothers Discovery, was back then known as Warner Brothers Pictures, Warner Media. And this video is going to explain what we're going to look forward to this year. We're going to also talk about the consequences of that and what has happened in Warner Brothers. That's what this video is. It's not that long, the stream. So the consequences of them mismanaging the franchise, consequences of the decision making that they made. I just recap it very briefly. First thing they did after BVS, they tried to make a lighter tone, so they actually totally sabotaged the director of the film and changed up the film completely. They then dabbled a little bit in Wonder Woman, and then they went full on into Justice League 2017, dabbled with that to turn it into sort of like a Marvel film because they're trying to get everything to be Marvel. This is what the executives have been doing. They always wanted to pursue what Marvel was doing. They thought the blueprint was with Marvel. And then after that, Aquaman, they Marvelized Aquaman. Shazam was like a Marvel film anyway. And then they just went full on Marvel and everything flopped to this day. Not a single film have they done in the DCEU. I'm still going to call it the DCEU, which actually did something. Now, I want to just make two more mentions before I talk about the consequences of what they've done. The first mention I want to make is that one, the structure they have today with DC Studios, they tried that before. They did DC Films, and there was a co-head. There were co-heads of DC. It was Jeff Johns and John Berg. And under Jeff Johns and John Berg, we got Justice League 2017. Okay, both guys were removed after that movie, and Walter Hamada came on. I think it was either after Aquaman was released or just before Aquaman was released. Walter Hamada came on the scene, and he became the only solo DC head of DC Studios. And now he's been gone, and now we are again co-heads of DC Studios. Now it wasn't called DC Studios before; it was called DC Films. But now they've made this whole sector with to handle DC, which is called DC Studios. James Gunn and Peter Safran are the heads of that. So they're just duplicating the same thing they did in 2017 by putting John Berg there. It's the same thing they're doing again, the rehashing it with James Gunn and Peter Safran. The only difference is, and Peter Safran is part of the old regime with Tommy Everett and Jeff Johns and all these guys. So they're just trying to implement their plan for DC for the longest while. Okay, they're doubling down on the humor and they're doubling down on everything, all the ingredients. They think that James Gunn, for some reason, this outdated idea that James Gunn, Guardians of the Galaxy, is going to do something. So I'm just saying there's a repeat. What you're seeing transpiring right now is a repeat of what they did in 2017. Okay? Hoping for the Aquaman success. The problem with Aquaman's success was because everybody was on board with the Aquaman because Snyder fans was supporting Jason Momoa, the Asians were supporting James Wan, and then the audience in general came to see that movie because of the promotion by the Snyder fans to this movie. So there was a positive sentiment towards it. Even though I saw that they were marvelizing the movie. I saw that. I spoke about it. People in the Snyderverse community was telling me, no, that's not true. And because I got the Justice League bit wrong with Joss Whedon, I was trying to be an apologist for Joss Whedon stepping in where Zack had to leave, and we don't expect Joss to do as good as Zack Snyder did, but we just hoping and praying to just touch up on the movie and just finish it off. So that's was my apology. I was apologizing for that. I was being apologetic for that. And then when I realized that that wasn't the case, that these people literally chopped up this man's movie, and Josh Whedon was a pig on the set and so on, and the nonsense that came out of that thing, man, I was appalled. I was totally appalled. I have not watched Justice League 2017 since then. Zack Snyder Justice League is for me canon. But that's the besides the point. I only have a couple more minutes. So I just wanted to talk about that repeated motif. Now, what is the consequences of these things? Well, first thing, these are the people that tore down the brand. It wasn't Zack Snyder. They keep on trying to go back to Zack Snyder and Zack Snyder. No, motherfucker, you've been supposedly correcting. You're supposed to be correcting everything since Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman. But the corrections that you did actually made the situation worse. Okay, they're going to cite Aquaman and Wonder Woman and even the Suicide Squad as the adjustments they did that were successful. But it's not true at all. It's because the Snyder fans were supporting. When Snyder fans saw through the BS that you were doing, they stopped supporting. So all the other movies flopped because they made the adjustments to have this jokey style, and they thought the combination of jokes and whatever would work. The Marvel formula, it did not work. They're doubling down on it now with a Marvel director. They took a Marvel director and they made him head of DC, and they're saying, make this thing happen. It's not going to work because, like I said before, the core audience and the supporters of these movies are DC fans. And these DC fans have come to love and accept the tone and the direction of these DC movies. And unless you can get rid of these DC fans, which is never going to happen, and on top of that, replace them with Marvel fans somehow, which is never going to happen, because Marvel fans are never going to be that interested in DC. There are some fans who are crossover; they love DC and Marvel, but Marvel fans are never going to be interested in DC like that. They're invested in Marvel. All right, the core Marvel fans are invested in Marvel. They get excited for Marvel and what Marvel does. They haven't been excited of late. Kind of disappointed somewhat, but they excited for Marvel. The DC fans are excited for DC. They read DC comics, etc. They go to, they represent DC. They represent DC movies. You got the Batman fans, but again, Batman fans, they don't like hee hee ha ha Batman. So, when you try to make comedy and humor in something, so I'm just saying you got to know your demographic. And now apparently they don't know their demographic. They're trying to copy a model that does not apply to DC. That does not work for DC, right? So what James Gunn is going to do is going to fail, no doubt about it. He's supposed to put out a slate sometime tomorrow in the trades. And I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not going to say nothing about that. I don't even care about it. I shouldn't even have mentioned it. But let's get back to Restore the Snyderverse. So let me explain to you what's happening and why we in the Restore the Snyderverse fandom are in a good position, no matter what it looks like. First things first, Shazam that's coming out is going to flop. Right? We know that already. We know what the prediction of that is going to be. With Boycott WB and the fans boycotting WB, that is only adding more pressure and fuel to the fire because it's adding bad press on top of the fact. And that's why they don't want nobody talking about it, but it's bad press. And that only hurts the investors. It hurts everything. So movie plummets. Let's say James Gunn slate comes out. First of all, if nobody talks about the slate, that's terrible. So that'll hurt James Gunn, period. And then on top of that, people calling for James Gunn to get fired and WB to be boycotted. If they just keep on talking about that also helps the situation. Now, I'm going to talk about consequences later on, but let's get to the consequences of their action. What we could do, the consequences of their action is this. Nobody's interested in seeing the movies and going to the cinema to see them. There's no excitement for the future of DC. And as a result of this, they're going to lose a whole ton of money, and they're going to have to maybe get out of the movie making business, period. Because the way out it's going, their company will need to have and the most amount of money they make is the money in the theaters. All right. So right now they're in a rock and a hard place because the Flash movie is a shit. It's shit. And we all know this because too many hands was in it. So it's not going to come out. It's not going to do anything. It's going to be a crappy movie. That's going to crap. Aquaman movie is going to go to crap. So they're saying, well, we'll flush this out and we'll reboot everything. That's even worse because that decision to start everything afresh, there's no confidence. There's no confidence by the fans in the studio. So to say we're going to scrub everything and start it afresh, maybe the industry people are advising that. People in the industry will be like, yeah, that's a good idea because it's not working for you guys. But you guys were the same people who fucked it up. So since you are a fuck up, why would anybody support your fucking up? you're gonna fuck up again because you're pursuing Marvel. You're trying to be like Marvel. That's a fuck up in itself because the demographic that you have, the demographic that you play to, and you saying the demographic don't matter, and what the demographic says doesn't matter, and when we're not gonna listen to the demographic, we're not gonna be bullied by no toxic fans and stuff. Okay, then fine. Then you on your own because ain't nobody gonna come to your cinema to see anything. They're not gonna watch your movies. You just said I don't want my core audience base. I don't like how they behave. Look how they treat us. I don't want to do nothing for them. Okay then. Who are you gonna do it for? Who are you gonna do it for? And that's where they've lost out, and they're gonna have so much failure from here on in. James Gunn's universe is dead on arrival. You know what I mean? It's dead on arrival. There's gonna be no buzz for it. All right. The only answer now for them is to put their tail between their legs, come begging Zack Snyder to come back to them. And he can call whatever terms, whatever money, whatever he wants, because they're going to have to go on their hands and knees and beg him to come back. Because he's not going to come back just like that. Zack Snyder's not coming back. He has a good deal going on with Netflix. He's not coming back. So these are the consequences of these stupid people. Just let the man finish his movie. This would have been avoided if the man had let his movie go into cinemas, do well, and the man had and Batfleck had done his stuff and stuff. But y'all so conceited, y'all so power hungry, y'all running wild. You had the best thing going. Y'all decided to fuck that up, so y'all fucked up. You listened to Jeff Johns. He was selling the Kool-Aid to you. You bought the Kool-Aid, and you're fucking up. And the next generation of y'all is fucking up again. That studio is fucking up royally. So we're not going to endorse a studio that's doing that. So you've lost the fans. Most of your DC fans are going to. There'll always be the hungry DC fans that don't care, like Chris Wong, Superman movie, any Superman movie I watch. Yeah, you look like a guy that would look at a Superman who has a poop fetish, for sure. You look like a guy, where a Superman, that's clumsy and awkward, especially Clark Kent, clumsy and awkward, so you can get the cheap jokes out of it. I'm sure Chris Wong will go and watch that. But not me. And the bar that Zack Snyder set for the universe, he's the most suitable. I mean, there's a couple other guys I can think of who could head DC right now, as it is in Warner Brothers, who would do a much better job than James Gunn. But with respect to the best possible guy to run DC and have DC running, it was Zack Snyder, hands down. Anyways, people, I'm going to wrap it up right there. So the consequences is the studios, the cinemas are going to be empty when it comes to their movies and people viewing their movies. It's going to be empty cinema. And I feel sorry for them. The last stream I'm going to do is going to be one on StreamYard. So you guys can pop up in and we could chop it up. That'll be my last cook. And this one is what can we do as fans to enjoy ourselves while this is going on. And also to carry out campaigns. Like I said before, this is the hit back now. The fans are going to lash back, and boy, it's going to be monumental. Like I said before, it's going to be epic. And the lash back, what I mean by that is, how do we approach this? What is the strategy? And I'm going to suggest some strategies out there. There's several different strategies. Fans are right now, they're petitioning Netflix to go to Warner Bros. And buy out the Snyderverse. That is to say, Zack Snyder's take, so that he could finish off his movies. The Batfleck movie. Maybe Ben Affleck could do something with Batman in there. And David Ayer's movie can air through Netflix. Netflix can put up the money to finish it off and put it up on screens through Netflix. Now, like I said before, that is a feasible, viable option. That's one. But I said it's an option. It's not the only thing. If you look at Netflix stock, I think I'll put it up in the. I'm gonna put it up in the community section. I'm gonna put up some information for you guys to understand what's going on. Why Netflix is in such a position where it could actually do it. And Netflix and Amazon got the dough to do this, and they got their stock and shares are pretty high. Comparable with Disney. So once they're out there and they can get involved, or work with WBD, or buy out even WBD, we could be looking at a totally different situation. But I don't know if Netflix wants to go into the movie making business proper and buy WBD off the hands of the people who manage it. But if they do, that would be a blessing because both Netflix and Amazon, they allow creative content. Now, the only thing with Netflix is they cancel shows on the drop of a dime. They'll just cancel a show. They might be doing well and everything. You just cancel the show. You know what I mean? So, and as you can see with Henry Cavill, sometimes they want to do this SJW bullshit and move away from the actual stuff from the game. And Henry Cavill had, he was clashing with the people who were writing the story, and so he kind of said, you know what, peace out, I'm out. And he was coming to do the Superman thing, which again, Henry heads up to Henry Cavill. This regime and what they doing with James Gunn ain't gonna last very long. So, bruh, get yourself ready to get back into the Superman role. I know you're gonna be pushing your movie on Amazon there, your little series that you're gonna be doing on Amazon, but still keep that cape there. Keep that cape flapping in the background. You see how the fans be reacting to you. Please do not put away that cape because you're gonna have to use that very soon. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Heads up to Henry Cavill. Heads up to Amazon. Heads up to Netflix. I think Sony's in a pretty good position. I know Columbia Pictures have a little deal with Disney. I don't really want Sony touching that because I just don't want Sony touching that. But definitely Netflix, Amazon. I know they are more internet based things, and they really don't. But at least produce the movies, man. And whoever needs to distribute it into the cinemas, you know. And if you buy WBD, one of y'all buy WBD, they're gonna distribute it into the cinema for you. You know what I'm saying? I think they should buy it. I'm telling you, man. Anyway, so that's what I got for you guys. I took a little longer. I said 10 minutes. I'm going on almost double the time. The next video is going to be a stream. And the third part is what we as fans could do about the situation. There's a lot we can do. The power's really in our hands. There are going to be other fans who are going to buy stuff still and they're going to indulge in DC, but they're not going to be significant enough to get DC over the edge or to get even Warner Brothers Discovery over the edge. And I know that some people were thinking of watching WB movies. I'm going to tell y'all, hold your hand. Don't pay. I know this is for the next video, so I'm gonna deal with that. All right. So this is